It was another long day at the office, and I dragged my tired body through the front door of our suburban home in Austin. The aroma of Avery's famous lasagna wafted from the kitchen, but even the promise of her excellent cooking couldn't lift my spirits tonight. As I entered the dining room, Avery sat at the table, her fingers drumming an anxious rhythm on the polished wood. An unusual tension hung in the air, and I couldn't help but notice the tight line of her lips and the crease between her furrowed brows. "Hey," I offered a weak smile, attempting to break the awkward silence. Avery exhaled shakily, her gaze fixed on me with an intensity that made my stomach knot. "Garrett, I need to talk to you about something important." Alarm bells rang in my head as I lowered myself into the chair across from her. Avery and I had been together for over a decade, and I knew that tone. It never boded well. "What is it, Avery? You look serious." My voice betrayed a hint of the apprehension bubbling within me. She straightened her shoulders, her hands clenched on the tabletop. "I've been having an affair. Actually, with two men. Their names are Caleb and Noah, and I want us to have an open marriage." The words hit me like a freight train, knocking the wind from my lungs. I clenched my fists beneath the table, my nails digging into my palms as a tidal wave of anger and betrayal surged through me. How could she do this to me? To us? Are you serious? I managed to choke out, struggling to control the torrent of emotions raging inside me. "You expect me to be okay with this?" Avery's expression remained infuriatingly calm, almost defiant. "Yes, I've been happier these past few months. I think you'll see the benefits too. We can explore and still love each other." I scoffed bitterly, pushing away from the table and rising to my feet. "Explore? Love each other? Do you even hear yourself, Avery?" I shook my head, glaring at the woman I thought I knew. "You've betrayed our marriage, our vows, our trust, and you want me to just accept it? Garrett, please try to understand," she pleaded, her mask of composure cracking ever so slightly. "This isn't about betrayal. It's about freedom, about embracing our desires without judgment or restraint." "Freedom?" I spat the word like a curse. "You've humiliated me, Avery, and now you expect me to join in your depravity? Never." Avery's eyes hardened, her jaw set in a stubborn line. "It's not depravity. It's liberation from societal norms that hold us back. You're just stuck in your old ways, Garrett." I let out a mirthless laugh, running a hand through my disheveled hair. "You know what? Maybe I am stuck in my old ways. At least I have principles, a moral compass that doesn't allow me to betray the person I promised to love and cherish." Without another word, I stormed out of the dining room, the echoes of Avery's pleas for understanding falling on deaf ears. That night, I tossed and turned, my mind replaying her confession over and over, each syllable a fresh wound to my shattered heart. The following days were a waking nightmare. I went through the motions at work, my focus shattered, my thoughts consumed by Avery's infidelity. I needed answers, needed to understand the depth of her betrayal. In a moment of desperation and weakness, I hacked into her email and social media accounts, my fingers trembling as I sifted through the digital breadcrumbs of her affairs. The explicit messages and pictures exchanged between Avery, Caleb, and Noah burned my eyes, each word and image a searing brand on my soul. "Caleb, I can't wait to see you tonight." "Noah, last night was incredible." I printed the damning evidence, a cold determination replacing my initial anger and hurt. Avery wanted to play this game fine. I would show her the consequences of her actions. A few days later, I confronted her in our living room, the printed messages clutched in my white-knuckled grip. "How could you, Avery?" I flung the papers at her, the incriminating words glaring up from the scattered sheets. "Look at this. This is disgusting." To her credit, Avery didn't flinch, her gaze meeting mine with infuriating nonchalance. "Garrett, I was honest with you. These messages just show the fun we're having. You should try it too." I shook my head in disbelief, backing away from the woman I no longer recognized. In that moment, I knew our marriage was over, and I vowed to make her pay for her betrayal. In the days that followed my confrontation with Avery, a cold fury simmered within me. Her callous disregard for our marriage, her utter lack of remorse. It was unforgivable. As I lay awake at night, my mind whirred with thoughts of vengeance, of making her feel even a fraction of the pain and humiliation she had inflicted upon me. It was during one of those restless nights that the idea took root. A sinister plan began to take shape. If Avery wanted to play these twisted games, I would show her the true consequences of her actions. The next morning, I wasted no time in setting my scheme into motion. I arranged to meet with my best friend, Quinn, at his garage. Quinn was an ex-cop, a man who knew the ins and outs of the legal system better than anyone. If anyone could help me bring Avery to her knees, it was him. "Quinn, I need your help," I said, my voice low and urgent as I stepped into the dimly lit garage. "Avery has cheated on me, and I want to make her pay." Quinn's brow furrowed, his expression one of concern. "What do you have in mind, Garrett?" I took a deep breath, steadying myself. "I want to ruin her and those two bastards, Caleb and Noah. We'll start with her career. I need you to dig up dirt on all of them, anything we can use against them." Quinn's eyes widened, but to his credit, he didn't try to dissuade me.
All recht, Mann.
"I'll see what I can find." Over the next few weeks, Quinn and I worked tirelessly, combing through Avery's life with a fine-toothed comb. We uncovered evidence of her inappropriate workplace behavior, including using company resources to facilitate her affairs. Armed with this damning information, I made an anonymous tip to Avery's boss, Vanessa Riggs. A few days later, I watched from a distance as the first domino fell. "Avery, I've received some disturbing information about your conduct." Vanessa's voice carried across the office, laced with fury. "You're fired, effective immediately." Avery's jaw dropped, her eyes widening in disbelief. "What? This must be a mistake." But Vanessa was unmoved, her expression as cold as steel. "There's no mistake. Pack your things and leave." I felt a twisted sense of satisfaction as Avery gathered her belongings, her cheeks flushed with humiliation. It was just the beginning, a mere taste of the reckoning I had in store for her. With her career in shambles, I decided it was time to take my revenge to the next level, public humiliation. I organized a community event under the guise of a charity fundraiser, gathering friends, family, and co-workers under false pretenses. As the crowd milled about, sipping their drinks and making small talk, I took my place at the front of the room. A hush fell over the gathering as I cleared my throat, commanding their attention. "Ladies and gentlemen," I began, my voice steady despite the hammering of my heart. "I want to show you what true betrayal looks like." With a few clicks of the remote, the explicit messages and pictures between Avery, Caleb, and Noah filled the screen behind me. Gasps rippled through the crowd as they bore witness to the sordid details of Avery's affairs. And there she was, frozen in the middle of the room, her face ashen, eyes wide with horror. I met her gaze, holding it for a long, agonizing moment, allowing her to feel the full weight of her humiliation. Revenge, it seemed, was a dish best served cold, and I was just getting started. In the aftermath of my public humiliation of Avery, a strange sort of calm settled over me. The rage that had consumed me for weeks had finally been sated, leaving behind a hollow emptiness. I had gotten my revenge, but at what cost? A month later, Avery showed up at my doorstep, a mere shell of the confident, vibrant woman I had once loved. Her eyes were rimmed with dark circles, her skin sallow and drawn. The consequences of her actions had taken their toll. "Garrett," she rasped, her voice trembling. "I'm so sorry. I realize now how wrong I was. Please, let's start over." I studied her for a long moment, searching for even a shred of the remorse she claimed to feel. But all I saw was a broken woman, desperate to cling to the life she had so carelessly thrown away. "You had your chance, Avery," I said, my tone flat and emotionless. "You destroyed our marriage. Now you're facing the consequences." Her shoulders slumped, defeated, but I felt no pity, only a grim satisfaction that justice had been served. Of course, Avery didn't take her punishment lying down. A few weeks later, she teamed up with Caleb and Noah, seeking vengeance of their own. Their cutthroat attorney, Marissa Kane, showed up at my door with a smug grin. "We have a strong case against you, Mr. Walsh," she sneered. defamation, invasion of privacy. We can take you for everything you've got. I met her gaze steadily, unfazed by her empty threats. Bring it on, counselor. I've got nothing to hide. True to my word, I had documented every step of my revenge meticulously, ensuring that all my actions were legally sound. When Marissa and her clients tried to make their case in court, it backfired spectacularly. My lawyer, a brilliant legal mind named Richard Edwards, calmly laid out the evidence we had gathered on Caleb and Noah's illicit activities, drug possession and distribution, among other crimes. The courtroom fell silent as the sordid details were revealed, and I watched with a sense of grim satisfaction as Caleb and Noah squirmed in their seats, their arrogance replaced by fear. The final nail in their coffin came when I anonymously tipped off the police about their illegal operations, providing detailed information and evidence. I'll never forget the look on their faces as the detectives burst through the door of their seedy apartment. Caleb Dawson, Noah Whitaker, you're under arrest for possession and distribution of controlled substances, Detective Marlowe announced, his voice ringing with authority. Caleb's eyes widened in disbelief. This is insane. Who tipped you off? The detective's gaze flicked towards me for the briefest of moments. We received an anonymous tip with very detailed information. As Caleb and Noah were led away in handcuffs, I felt a weight lift from my shoulders. The legal battles were finally over, and I had emerged victorious, battered and bruised, perhaps, but victorious nonetheless. The divorce proceedings were a mere formality at that point. As the judge finalized the dissolution of our marriage, I couldn't help but feel a sense of liberation, despite losing half of my assets in the settlement. The divorce is granted, the judge declared, his gavel punctuating the end of an era. Mr. Walsh, you will retain half of your assets. Mrs. Walsh, you will not receive any spousal support due to your conduct. Avery opened her mouth, perhaps to plead for leniency, but I cut her off with a finality that brooked no argument. It's over, Avery. I'm free. And for the first time in what felt like an eternity, those words rang true. I was free from the weight of her betrayal, free from the anger and bitterness that had consumed me for so long. In the months that followed, I slowly began to piece my life back together. I threw myself into my work, rekindling the passion for coding that had once ignited my soul. And then, one fateful day, I met Eliza. Eliza was a breath of fresh air, a vibrant, intelligent woman who had been introduced to me through a mutual friend. From the moment we met for coffee at a quiet cafe, her warmth and wit captivated me, her laughter a soothing balm for the wounds of my past. As we chatted and joked, the tense atmosphere of the previous months melted away, replaced by a sense of lightness and possibility that I had thought lost forever. It's great getting to know you, Garrett, Eliza said, her eyes sparkling with mirth. I've had a wonderful time. I raised my cup, feeling a genuine smile tug at my lips for the first time in ages. Me too, Eliza. Here's to new beginnings. Our glasses clinked together, a simple gesture that symbolized so much more. A toast to the future, to healing, and to the promise of leaving the past behind. As I savored the rich flavor of my coffee, I felt a renewed sense of hope and excitement for the journey ahead, whatever it might bring. The road to this moment had been long and arduous, paved with pain and betrayal. But in the end, I had emerged stronger, wiser, and more resilient than ever before. And as I gazed into Eliza's warm, inviting eyes, I knew that the best was yet to come. This is where our story comes to an end. Share your thoughts in the comments section. Thanks for your precious time. If you enjoyed this story, then please make sure you subscribe to this channel. That would help me a lot. Click on the video you see on the screen, and I will see you there.